Some of the announcements are, Kyle, can you talk about Drive for Vision?
Yeah, so I, in Jason's absence,
Have him come up
put a
here.
few of these folders or flyers on everybody's table. We are just over a month out, and I know Jason said we need sponsors, players, and raffle prizes. So if you need electronic versions of this, let me know. I can email to you. Jason, email you anything. But it's crunch time, just over a month to go for our biggest fundraiser, 36th year. So please, anybody that can support, we'd appreciate it in any way possible.
Yeah, so you know this supports all our vision charities, so
Does.
I know I haven't signed up my force again. I'll do that right away.
Thank you,
Let's
Gary.
get that and sponsorships done. Thank you, Kyle. Ryan, dinner, Jim's not here. We have a meeting Thursday coming up with a date. Will be in the, Ben, is that going to be in the fall?
So we're looking, we had originally planned on a fall event. I think we're looking now at January of our last discussion. So we do this as a kickoff to the new year, celebrate the last year, kind of, that's what we're thinking now. So we're still really in need of committee members. So I would really appreciate anyone who wants to step up and join the committee. Thank you, Terry. So why did it annual fundraiser we do in an award thing? Yeah. For people in the local vision. But yeah, anyone who would like to join our committee, please reach out to me or to Jim Schuyler, and we'll get you set up. Great.
Thank you, Ben. Our annual meeting is June 6th, which is 3 weeks from today.
I have the menu.
And we've got a great menu, which will go out for making reservations. It starts at 6 o'clock at Wallingwood Country Club. It's not a country club. It's a golf course. When we had it last year, it was very good. The food was great. Atmosphere was great. So look for that. We'd like to have RSVPs so we can get a meal count again, June 6th. And I'd like John Rice to come up here.
Right.
He doesn't know why.
Probably when I wasn't wearing a super coat.
It's okay. We're all shocked. So from Lions International, I'd like to present you with a Master Builder pin, which is for sponsoring, having sponsored 10 members in Lions Club. Okay. And also, we have
Hold on.
John, you get to sit here for just a moment. No more pins. The Lions Leadership Institute, which is every fall, which many of you have been to, we're revamping it and we were looking for a new logo. So we had a logo contest, somebody to design a new logo for it, of which John created a logo and was the winner from the whole state. His prize was for a free admission to it, but he can't come that weekend. So he is going to get a cash prize instead.
All right.
I can't tell you who the co-chairman was of that committee that influenced that. What else do we have? Shirts. We're going to be making some club shirts available that you can order that'll have a small lion logo with Grand Rapids identified on it. And there's going to be, rather than just going with a t-shirt, the idea is as we're doing a service project, we want to be able to identify ourselves. We'll have a short and long sleeve shirt like that color. It's a nice material. And also a pullover available. And for us tall guys, it comes in extra long, if you want that. Back to the shirt. This also comes in a ladies version, so the ladies don't have to wear a men's version. And then there will be a polo that'll be available also. It won't be this same one, that's a mission shirt, but there'll be a polo available. So there'll be 3 versions of shirts, actually 4 when you say long sleeve or short sleeve, and you'll get the option for ordering what you want so that we can have something that looks a little uniform when we're doing service. And let's go ahead and let's see any more here as the lunch is coming. Shirts. On a sad note, our member Jean Allard is right now in her last stages of hospice, and this week is the end for her. So I don't know if any of you have been on Caring Bridge with her and Tim and the story, but the family has all been there, and she just is ready to go. So we're going to miss her. She was joined the club and was very enthused and involved with our vision, eyeglass recycling and our vision mission. So it's going to be a loss for us and the family. But just so you know, you'll see an announcement when that comes out. So keep the family in your prayers. And let's enjoy lunch. Jamin to come. He was tail twisting.
Hello, everybody. If I can get your card with all of normally, those that don't know what a tail twister does, could be, I might be included in that. Might find somebody for not having their pin on, but there's a bigger thing going on today, so I'm not worried about the pin. But pretty much everybody's gonna get fined because only Brett got the dress code. So, anybody have any happy thoughts they want to share with us before we go to summer break here? Oh, go ahead, ready. Ooh, oh, God.
Yes.
We're doing great.
We got news that our second grandbaby's on the way due in November.
Whoa. Anybody else at this table? No? Okay.
I didn't swear.
I said I was waiting that day.
But back at Sunday.
Okay.
I really guilty either way.
I like when people feel guilty. They give me more. Anybody else have any happy thoughts for going in summer? Okay, look around and there's a lot of guests. I don't know if there's anybody that's a guest that could be introduced. Okay.
All right, have a guest today. This is Kim St. John, who works with me and wanted to see what we do here. So I'll give a 5-minute speech about yourself. Anyway, this is good.
Really want to know what that's like to work with.
About this, as far as guests, I know I make it difficult for you. I wander all over the place. So, with that, I think we'll go to the raffle. Thank you. And there's a 5 for the first drawing. Let's see.
That's the second driver.
We buy raffle tickets for the person picked out gets $5. Second one, we split the pot that hopefully grows a bit. I won that like 4 weeks ago, got a whopping $40. So first we're gonna
Chair is gone. Give the chair a hand. Okay, you get to pick it. No cheating now.
Yeah, right.
Pick mine. Last 4 numbers, 4296.
4296.
More two. That would be right. Thank you. Thank you, Jess. 50-50.
Yeah. Second one is the drawing for the white chip. We start out with 52 chip. Original concept was a deck of cards, trying to get the right one. We went to chips, dropped the white one in here.
And that is
Would have made it a lot more difficult.
4349.
4349. Ah, Bobby. Well, you or is it me? Because you're watching both of them. Right there. Those are yours. Oh, very too bad. Okay,
Sorry, Bob.
all set.
We had the check. Cheers.
I don't know if she's gonna play first or.
I got it all.
Oh, I'll make one small announcement. We did get a check from Respects from for eyeglass.
Good.
Came in. That helps us pay our rent there. For the they send glasses can be recycled.
So please introduce today, Lion Cheris Austin, who's also a zone chair in our district. And she is a client advocate at ABBI and here to make a presentation today. Cheris.
Thank you. I am pleased. I'm here today on behalf of the Lions of Michigan White Cane Committee. And one of our scholarship winners was unable to be at the forum this year where we usually give our scholarships out. So I am here today to present a fake check in the amount of $3,000 to Julia LaGrand, who was one of our scholarship winners. We gave away 4 scholarships this year, 4 $3,000 scholarships, and then an alternate $500 scholarship. So with that, I will let Julia take over.
We're gonna, let's have it come up and you can present it to her.
Okay. Yes.
Summit? Great. Maybe. Yes.
All right.
Becomes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited and grateful that this scholarship will help me to attend the New England Conservatory in the fall. And I will be a music student, and so I'm going to play a little bit of music as well. Yeah.
Standard
Well, we're going to stand.
Okay.
So I'm going to play the 3rd and 4th movements of Bach's Second Sonata for solo violin and
Julia, thank you. That's incredible. Having played the violin a long time ago, I don't know if I can even tune mine anymore. That was incredible. And again, with Julia is her mother, Melissa, which I failed to introduce. Melissa, thank you for being here. It's great to see you again. And we look forward to maybe having Julia back when she's back on break from the Conservatory of Music. I would like to ask Shelley to come up and introduce the rest of our guests.
Thank you, President Anderson. Right, here we go. There are books in the back, hint. Co-authors in the house, thanks for being here. Janet Jaymin. Here's some 3 important facts about Janet. She's driven on the Autobahn, ask her how fast. She's the bereavement manager with Faith Hospice. And if you ask her what she wants for her birthday, don't give her cake, give her pie. So she got the memo. Janet, come on up. Round of applause to Janet. All right, who watched Wood TV this morning from 5:30 to whatever. We'll take it at least. We're TV meteorologist, co-author, of course, Terri DeBoer. Come on up while I continue sharing your second fact. Also, 8 West is her certainly day job. She's adding 2 family members. So we'll ask about that. Plus, I had the honor of hanging out at her condo in Tampa this past February, where we both ran a race or 2, and this year we'll do it again. And she's going to run 2 races, so the apple does not fall far from her friends. So without further ado, let's talk about how they partner.
Yeah, Shelley, how about incredible Shelley? She, so we went down to Tampa. My only grandchild is in Tampa, so I get another grandchild this year too. And I get another son-in-law this summer too. So I get to add 2 family members this year. So it will be a big year for the DeBoers. But with my only child in Tampa, my husband and I had no choice but to buy a condo down there so we could escape West Michigan's crazy winter at least every other weekend. So Mike, do you want us to hold that or? Yeah, so I had invited, I know what a big time runner Shelley is, so I'd invited Shelley to come down and enjoy race weekend down there. Of course, we get the big Saturday of Riverbank. In Tampa, it's the Gasparilla weekend. And so they have 2 fun-filled days of races. The first day, Saturday, they have a 15K, which is 9.3 miles, and a 5K, which is 3.2 miles. And then the next day they have the half marathon, which is 13.1 miles, and then an 8K. And so last year, Shelley did the 9 miles, so the 15K on Saturday, and then did the half marathon on Sunday. So how about that? So I did the 5K last year, and then I was a good cheerleader and enthusiast on Sunday, and I got her there on time for the race. So next year I plan to do the 5K and the 8K. So I'll do back-to-back races too, just not quite as long. Yeah,
It's hard.
yeah. So Janet Jaymin, she does incredible work at Faith Hospice as the grief and bereavement manager. And so as I was getting ready to promote the release of my first book, Brighter Skies Ahead, which I talked to you all about a year ago, I partnered with Janet to write another book, one that really described what was going on as I was having such a difficult time in my empty nest journey, which Janet really was able to professionally name as what I was truly going through when I was having this painful transition when my kids were leaving home. And that was, I was on a journey of grief. And as someone who has lived her professional life, helping to counsel people through grief, she was able to spot that. And so we were able to come alongside and write a book together.
And we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry's book, Brighter Skies Ahead, was a great book. I don't know if you all read it, but it was very good. And I remember when we met and I kind of had gone through each chapter because she gave me an advanced copy of the book. So I read it and then I did an outline. And then we came back together and I shared that outline with Terry and talked to her about how really emptying the nest was she was grieving. She was grieving that part of her life.
And so as we met together and I was to be a speaker at the annual Faith Hospice fundraising luncheon, which was canceled because of COVID. And then we came together for a couple of follow-up meetings, and Janet shared with me an interesting statistic just about grief and how many people on any given day are on a grief journey. And the startling part about the statistic that really was the cornerstone foundation of this project was the fact that it was a study that was completed long before COVID ever even started.
Right. It was a study that was done by Amerispeak and WebMD. And in this study, the study was done 3 years prior to COVID-19. And so what they found in this study was that 57% of Americans, it was done here, were grieving. And that is startling. 57% of Americans were grieving. So that was done 3 years before COVID. So just think what that statistic would be now, because there was so much loss time of COVID. And to even think about COVID now seems like it was a long time ago, but it was not.
Right, and yeah, and so when we came together to start our work on writing a book together about grief, we really explored a lot of different issues. And I said to Janet, you were able to talk to me about the empty nest journey as a journey of grief, but really any kind of loss will come along with some sort of grief.
There's tons of loss. But we as a society just don't talk about it. And we just kind of like to brush it under the carpet. We don't want to explore grief and loss in many ways. And I do feel that it's part of that is just that when we do lose someone, we lose someone close to us or someone that's, maybe the same age, it really does tap into our own immortality. What's next for us. And then there's a lot of self-reflection. But I think as time goes on, people are more apt to talk about their feelings and just losses that they are experiencing. Interesting enough, I was just reading not too long ago that 100 years ago, Sigmund Freud actually had his own theory of grief. And he talked about how the way that you get through mourning is, as the subject, is that you just move on to another thing, and I think that's how we referred to it, as another thing, and you get over it. And so I think we've come a long way since the time of Sigmund Freud saying that we just have to get over our grief, because we know that that's not how it works. It is a process, it is a long process, and we do not get over people that we love. That's the reality.
And when we think about grief, too, it's, when we lose someone we love or someone who is meaningful in our lives, of course, we name that as grief. But we grieve so many different things. And in our book, we have a part of the book, we had 23 essays written by individuals who had been on or were still on a journey of grief, everything from losing a career after COVID. Gentleman I got to know as I was starting my literary journey, lost a 40-year career in publishing because as the world made it so complicated for regular business to go on, businesses were making hard decisions. And so a gentleman who had been a key part of my journey to getting my first book done, lost his career, was blindsided. And that set him on his own journey of grief. And he writes about it in our book. We have people who have lost pets who have written beautiful stories because these are beloved family members and we grieve when we lose them. We have people who've lost children and spouses and parents who've written just beautiful essays. And those are the words that you will read in our book.
And siblings too. There's one in here there's an essay in here and I can refer to it. So many of you may know him, Carl Paganelli, writes the story, which is in the book. And I think, it took a lot for Carl to do that, but I think with him doing that, he's also given a lot of men permission that it's okay to grieve. He lost his wife of, 30 some years, and then left with his two daughters. And that was huge for him. And, and he's doing well. He's doing well now, but that's a loss he'll never forget. So, and he is a strong advocate for faith hospice, but more importantly, he is a very strong advocate that people really seek bereavement support when they have a loss, particularly men.
Yeah, and we as a society, and the more time we spent together working on the book, and we thought, important things about books, titles and covers. And so as we were working on the manuscript, we really came up with this core idea that as a society, we really are about living well. We, especially Americans, we like to live well. And the work at Faith Hospice, the men and women who walk alongside individuals who are in their final days and hours and minutes of life, they help people die well. And so we're about living well and dying well, but we are not about grieving well. And so as Janet and I came together and started working on this project, we thought, you know, how important could it be if we could come up with a book that would help people who are in whatever season, whatever stage of a grief journey? How could we make it as accessible and easy as possible?
And that's how we came up with the Grieving Well. So I've been in hospice for a long time, over 20 years, been working in hospice, doing hospice work. And, you know, we do help people die well. And we want people to live well. And when someone is dying well, that person certainly wants their loved ones to have the opportunity to grieve well. And that's just as important because they are left in this life and they need that support. So that's how we really came up with, you know, Grieving Well.
So I do have to ask you, Janet,
Sure.
as you were just saying that, so when you work with people who are, you do the grief and the bereavement side of things, but when you and your team work with someone who is in the final stages, how often is it that the person who is dying will say to you, I'm ready to go, like I'm worried about my kids, my husband, my daughter, my friend, my parents? How often do you hear that? And how do you offer reassurance?
I would say it's almost 100%. So, and think about it, because you all have families, right? And if you knew you were dying, you would want them to be okay. And you worry about it. Everybody who's dying worries about their loved ones, because they're going to be left behind. And everyone cares about who's left behind. Everyone. That's my answer. Everyone. 100%. I mean, and then there are people maybe that don't have, you know, maybe they never been married, maybe they don't have kids, but maybe they do have a pet. They're worried about their pet. And I know at hospice, there's many times where we're trying to find a home for someone's pet. And, you know, and we do that. We try to meet people where they're at and then help them in this process. That dying process.
So the book is in 3 different sections. The first section, there's 6 chapters, sort of about the nuts and bolts, sort of about the concepts about grief, naming it, going through one of the chapters is the stages of grief that probably many of you have read about at some point. The second part of the book is has the essays, the 23 essays, and the third part of the book, Faith Hospice is a faith-based organization. It is a Christian organization, and so the pastoral team, the men and women who provide pastoral support, we brought them together to write 31 devotionals for 31 days a month about grief, the different passages that you find in God's holy word that relate to grief and the journey of death and what's to come, and the peace and the hope and the comfort that you can find in scripture. And so those are very beautifully written as well. I will tell you, it was like herding cats to try to get those pastors to write their devotionals. It was one of the most complicated parts of the whole process for myself. And you should know that at the time we were working on this, I was going under contract to write a 366-day devotional for a Christian publishing company that has a gifting division. And so I was in the process of writing 366 days of devotionals. At the same time, I was asking a half dozen people to write 5 each, and I was losing my mind. So Janet and I became really lifelong friends through this process. We didn't know each other ahead of time, and she'll definitely be one of the people who will be walking along the rest of life's journey with me, because she is brilliant and the biggest part of anybody.
Yeah, I think one of the things too, and we did talk about our book, is that we wanted to make sure that it wasn't a textbook. So if you all buy it, this is not a textbook, okay? We wanted it to be something that you could really relate to and understand. You know, if you want a textbook, you can go out and get one. This is not that. This is real. So in that first section, there are concepts about grief and loss, but it's something that is relatable and you can understand. And you can apply it to your own life. And I think that's what was really important in regards to what we wanted to do also.
And there's a chapter about what can, because, you know, I don't know about you, but sometimes I just want to know, what can I do? What can I say? And you don't want to say something wrong or do something wrong, and you don't want to be offensive, and you don't want to seem like you're, you know, you're not being respectful. And so, so there's a whole chapter that has literally a couple dozen things you can do. And it was written by a woman that we both have come to know, who lost her adult brother to suicide. And so she circled back and wrote just a really beautiful essay for the book, and then also wrote this list of things that you can really do.
23 essays, yeah.
Isn't it a great book to something that we know of? It's reading.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we had a lot of people, so you should know that the book itself belongs to Faith Hospice. Janet and I both signed over our rights to the book, and we are making them available. They're $10 each, and we'll sign them, and you can buy as many as you want and give them away if you want, if you know somebody who needs them. But all of the proceeds from the book goes to support the Faith and Bereavement program at Faith Hospice.
So we make nothing. Someone said to me at Faith Hospice, a coworker, "Oh, I bet you're getting rich off that book." And I kind of chuckled and I thought, no, we sign, you know, everything goes back to the bereavement center for Faith Hospice. Anyway, but Terri is such a, you know, she just does so much for the community here. And again, giving back her time and her talent. You know, Faith Hospice, myself personally, are just very grateful to her. Yeah.
So is hospice expanding what you do in terms of bereavement beyond just life and death?
So,
I mean, in terms of what the book is doing, talking about whether it's jobs or, I mean, we're talking about bereavement for a lot of things.
right.
Loss of a lot of things, but hospice itself is still staying focused where.
Hospice is focused on helping people to die well,
Right.
okay? But the other part of what hospice does is that we do provide 13 months of bereavement support to any family member who has experienced that loss under hospice care. But we have pushed that, and we have expanded that to our community. So anybody within our community who has experienced a loss in the last 13 months can also reach out to us, and we will provide that bereavement care to them.
And they I don't know if you've had a chance to visit Trillium Woods out on 84th Street, but they are dedicated now, a beautiful new center that's dedicated.
Yeah.
To bereavement and grief support.
So it's right behind, it's the lower level behind Trillium Woods. And it is the Van Ando Hope and Healing Pavilion. And oh, sorry, Sean.
Oh, I'll give you a 5 minute.
Oh.
Okay, that's our 5 minutes.
Okay, got it. Okay, so anyway, actually, we have an open house this Thursday.
From 3 to 6?
From 3 to 6. And so we hope to offer more support groups, individual counseling, different workshops on grief and loss, and also be kind of a place where people know that they can go when they have experienced loss.
Does a physician whether have to prescribe hospice, or it does legally have to be prescribed?
Yes, so that's a good question. So it's not like anyone can just sign on to hospice, right? So for someone to receive hospice services, you actually have to have two physicians who say that, Jane Doe has less than 6 months to live. So two physicians have to agree to that. And when they do that, then the referral comes to us, and then we can reach out to that family and talk to them about hospice services. That's a good question.
My mother-in-law actually graduated from hospice. Now,
Oh,
how
great.
does that occur?
Well, you know what? That happens. That happens, because people come on to hospice and they get great care. And so often we see people get better. And so there are people that we sign off of hospice because their life expectancy is more than 6 months. And so realistically, we cannot continue to care for them, because we do have to show that anyone that is on hospice, we have to continuously show that there is a decline. But if someone doesn't not meet the requirements, we have to sign them off. Otherwise, it becomes fraud. So I'll just be frank on it.
Yeah. So if you're interested, you have books in the back, they're $10 each. If you weren't here when I was here talking, and I have my book and my journal, if you buy the book, the journal, and the Grieving Well book, the whole bundle is $20, and all of that goes to Faith Hospice. So if you're interested, or somebody who can use an empty nest book or anything. So, but we're just happy to be here. Thank you so much, Shelley, for inviting us,
And just a wonderful organization with what you all do too for a community.
Terry and Janet, thank you for your story. I think you received a mug last year.
I did, yes.
Okay, so you're not going to get another mug.
Okay,
This
thank
is
you.
an emergency kit. Always good to.
Yes,
Signs in an
absolutely.
emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Which would you like? Would you like?
Oh, I like the mug.
There you
actually.
go.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yes.
Can I have one question for everybody? Did anybody get a white raffle ticket? Oh,
Why did Terry get a white raffle ticket? Because she got
yes,
one of them.
there's some kind of fraud going on. And so I was going to have Henry Erb come and check all the because I got a white raffle ticket, and then there were the green ones in the little cylinder, and I thought, you got my hopes up that I could make it. And
That was the end of the roll.
fraud. So anyway.
That was the end of the roll.
Henry Cup.
Yes, okay.
Thank you again for coming. The books in the back also. Julia and Melissa, thank you for coming, and also for your performance. That was incredible. Cheris, thank you too for taking the time out of your day to be here. We look forward to seeing you all at the June 6th annual dinner. Please look for emails about the annual dinner and about voting. Okay, we need to vote for our incoming directors, and if you want to vote me out of office, you can do that too.
I need a majority vote.
We need a majority vote.
It's out there already.
Right. It's out there, but it's coming again.
I would have mentioned this earlier, but I was checking with Diane Webby. There is another confirmed build day for pets. If any of you have participated in the others, you'll know how the Lord. We built 60 beds at both build days that I attended. And there is another build day on June 10th. And it's Environ Center at Wood Tech, where we did the first one. And there'll be a notice coming out in the email about this Saturday, June 10, 9:30 to 12:30.
Yeah, it's a great event for those who haven't done it. There's so many children that are sleeping in Grand Rapids without beds. They don't have a bed to sleep in. So we're building beds, and we're also providing the mattresses and linens and pillows for them. Also, we're doing that too. So we thank you for being here. We're adjourned.